Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Mind Body Health Podcast with myself, Dave Sheahan, high performance consultant and dedicated for over 25 years to educating, motivating and inspiring people just like you in regaining control of the mind body health area of your life. And most importantly, to become the best you that you can be and experience the best life that you can, turn your dreams into reality and so on. And I'm dedicated to help you in every way I can. That's why I put out so much content across social media. It's why I do this podcast. I do radio shows. I do loads of stuff to put out great content. Well, I hope it's great content that it will have a positive impact on you, but only if you implement what I teach you. Okay, only if you implement. Remember, education and knowledge is not power. It's implementation of knowledge that's power. Okay, so all these things I share with you on all these podcasts are going to have a positive impact on your life, but only if you implement them. Do not just listen, put them into practice. Every single time you listen to a podcast, pick out one little element of it and incorporate that into your life. We should be looking to grow every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year throughout our lives. It should be an ever evolving process, because when you adopt that type of mentality and you look to evolve on a continuous basis and always look at ways to improve any aspect of your lifestyle, things have to improve. Your life experience has to improve. And a big problem for people is prioritizing being productive, prioritizing themselves, self-care, getting balance. And that's what I'm going to speak to you about in this particular episode. Something that's really important. And what I'm going to speak to you about is the truth about work-life balance, because it has become very, very clouded in today's world, today's society. Today's modern world is hugely stress-induced, hugely reactive, hugely false in keeping up with the Joneses. What success supposedly means, what happiness means, what fulfillment means. It's become over image conscious. It's become overly worried about what everyone else thinks. And what is important, like I stress to you always, is you need to do you. You are you. You are an individual. You are a unique individual. And it's important you live your best life. That's the important word, your best life. That's why all these things that society tells us that we should do, what we should strive for, what success means, what work-life balance means, what happiness actually means. You need to wipe all those things out, because what society tells us and what's the reality is often very, very different. And this is no more true than when it comes to work-life balance. We live in an age right now where it's all about the hustle. It's all about pushing hard. It's all about, getting everything out of yourself every single second of every single day. Now, I'm a big fan of squeezing all you can out of every day, of making every day count, living life to the absolute max. But I'm talking about doing that always in a productive manner, not literally driving yourself into the ground. You can be unbelievably productive. You can be unbelievably successful and unbelievably happy without driving yourself into the ground, because that's the important word, productivity, making the most of each day. You don't have to work 18, 20 hours a day and sacrifice sleep and everything else. It's about getting the right balance, and work-life balance is key. But what's really important is society tells us what work-life balance actually should be. And you've got one side is pushing that you should be working like a slave and hustling. And you need to anyway, because how else can you afford the big house and the lovely car and the boat and 3 or 4 holidays a year and send your kids to private school and having the best of everything? How can you afford it unless you do that? And that's the trap so many people are caught in, because they literally have to work non-stop because they have to pay for these things. But will that bring them true happiness? If the other side then that's pushing, and these two things are happening at the same time, same people in society pushing it, that you should be taking more time off and more time for you, more time for your kids and more time for fun and life and so on. So you got these two things battling all the time, and people really don't know which they should be focusing on. What should you focus on? What is true work-life balance? Like, what is the truth about it? It comes back to you. It comes back to you like everything else does, because again, you're a unique individual. You have your own values, you have your own beliefs, you have your own vision for what you want your life experience to be. Like, this is your journey through life and you get one chance at it. Okay, like for me, this is my one chance, and I aim every day to maximize it to the max, like absolutely maximize. Obviously you maximize to the max, but make it count, get everything I can out of every single day, out of every single week, every month, every year, my life as a whole, because I live in constant fear of regret. I do not want at the end of my life look back with so many regrets and say I should have done this and should have done that. I don't want to be able to look back if I get a major disease or condition and think I should have done this, should have done that to help prevent this or prolong the period between not having it and having it. Because we have to take personal responsibility for our lives, and everything we experience in life has come from something that we've done. We've played a part. We've played a number of parts often, because that's the way life works. We are in control. We are constantly designing, creating, and bricklaying basically our life. And we have to take personal responsibility for that. Okay. And this is why I live in fear of regret. And that's why, I rarely have regrets, because if I want something, I go for it. If it doesn't work out, I learn lessons. If it works out, fantastic. I'll enjoy it as much as I possibly can. Because I have my clear vision of what happiness means to me. I have my clear vision of what I want to do in life, my print I want to leave on this world and on people's lives, I hope, when my final day comes. So I have that clear vision. So my work-life balance is a certain way, okay? It doesn't mean, again, slaving, okay? Now, this is where you have to tune in. Like, your work-life balance really comes down to your values and your beliefs and what you want your life experience to be like. It isn't like work-life balance isn't like what most people think it is. You work flat out Monday to say Friday, then you switch off on a Friday evening till Monday morning. And that's work-life balance. And Saturday and Sunday is your only time to have fun and switch off and do other fun things. It doesn't have to be that way. Other people work 7 days a week because they have to, because they can't afford their lifestyle otherwise. Other people are in massive debt. Other people have huge ambitions. Other people just have no idea how to be productive and how to prioritize, but they're very hard working. They have incredible work ethic, but they can't structure their lives. They're not good for planning, but they're action takers, with the wrong stuff, not the priorities. So they're working non-stop, but not getting much return from it. So they're in a cycle of constant work, and very little balance. And if you're not taking adequate self-care of yourself, then you're going to, it's going to bite you in the ass. You're going to get sick. You're going to get very ill. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to possibly get a disease or a condition. This is the reality. So for each of us, we need to get a right level of work-life balance. And I always say to people, especially people who are starting into their own ventures, their own businesses, self-employed, stuff like that, decide on what your ideal life should be, your ideal day, your ideal week, your ideal life. And plan for that, commit to that from the day one. Because once work starts taking over, whether it be your own business or whether it be work for someone else, it is very easy to just keep going with it and keep doing that little bit more, that little bit more, that little bit more. And then you're just working all the time. And everything else starts to suffer. You stop exercising or you do less. You stop eating as healthy. You grab more convenience. You stop sleeping as much because you can't afford to sleep as much. You stop doing activities that you enjoy, that give you joy and that feed your soul and feed your spirit. You stop doing those things because work starts to take over. And that's happening far too many people. And you might relate to this. And that's where you're losing your balance. Now, there's people in the world who their values are completely tied into money, material things, fame, bank balances, all of that. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's very important that each of us individually live a life that is true to our own personal values. So if someone's number one value is money, then they should be spending the vast majority of their week on generating money. That's what it should be. And if they are working 18 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, and then just sleeping and eating and that's it, they're in line with their values. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're a person who says your values are different, your values are stuff to do with you, your family, your kids, or whatever, but you are working like that and you're not in tune with your values, you do not have work-life balance. It is so important to set your boundaries, okay? So to give you an example of the way my week typically goes, because I'm very clear on what I want out of life. I'm very clear on what my values are, my beliefs, what happiness is for me. I'm also very, very ambitious. This is why productivity is so important. I also want to have a massive positive impact in the world, but I only have 168 hours in a week to do all of that, to have the right balance, to make the impact, and so on. And that is why it's important to be productive. And that's why some of the tips I share with you on these podcasts and what I put across social media are so important for you to implement. Because if you don't, you won't be productive and you won't live your best life. But for me, from 6 a.m. on Monday morning until about 3, 4, or 5 o'clock on Friday, late afternoon, is full on. 6 o'clock in the morning till 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, full on between dealing with work and various projects and commitments and, you know, calls and clients and social media and writing, my podcast, radio shows, all this kind of stuff that I do. It's full on all that time between that in terms of my work, my training, my son, my dog, what has to be done with the house, cooking, baking, all that kind of stuff. So that is what is full on, okay? And it's very clear what I have to do each day for the vast majority. I don't plan out every single second of every day, but a lot of it is organized and planned and routines, because routines is how you achieve things, okay? So that is that part of the week. That's my on time. That's when I'm 100% on and focused, and, you know, it's planned more or less what I'm going to be doing and each slot and so on. Once it hits 3, 4, 5 o'clock, depending on when I finish on a Friday afternoon, from then until 6 o'clock on Monday morning, it's off time. That is my off time. That is my fun time. That's my time for really thriving and, you know, really experiencing happiness on the personal level, enjoying time with the people who matter to me most and who bring me the most joy in life, me to recharge my body, refresh my body, both from training as well as mentally and emotionally from work, because the work I do is very mentally and emotionally draining. So to recharge there, for me to do fun activities that I enjoy. So that's my off part of my life, and that's my life. If you go work-life balance, that's my life part. Of course, I got sprinklings of life throughout Monday to Friday, but that Friday evening till Monday morning at 6 is my life part. That's my balance, okay? I'm going 100 miles per hour for my on time, and then I'm very, very off for my off time. Same as if I ever have a holiday. Whenever I've got a proper holiday or take an actual break, I am off. I've become very good at being completely off. Now, it wasn't always that way. 25 years ago, I would have been 100 miles per hour, 24/7, basically 7 days a week. And it was, you know, hard for me to switch off. And then I didn't really have balance. I worked, I was ambitious, I achieved a lot. My business grew dramatically, my credibility grew dramatically, my exposure, my publicity grew dramatically, people wanted me grew dramatically, and I loved it. And it was like a machine, it was like an animal, and it took over. And while training got prioritized, other stuff didn't. Other stuff that was very high in my values list was actually not being prioritized the way it should have been. And then that led to repercussions, which is what happens. But I hadn't work-life balance then for my personal values, okay? Now, I'm very much in tune with my values, and for a long time now, many, many years. And my work-life balance is where I would want it to be and where it needs to be. Now, will it change over time? Of course it will change over time. Even in recent weeks and months, it's already even changed. I'm always evolving, and this is why I stress to you, you know, you should always be evolving, always looking at how you can improve in terms of taking care of you, how to live optimally, brain function, body function, productivity, prioritization, working with your ambitions, your goals, your dreams. And also, again, looking towards the future in terms of longevity and independence and all that side of things, and your health. The work-life balance will determine a lot of that, because as well, when you don't have work-life balance, it induces a huge amount of stress. And when you've got a lot of stress in your life, then it can be very hard for you to have work-life balance, because when we have stress, most of the time we're reactive, and we're rarely reactive in a positive sense. Usually we're reactive in a very negative sense. And being reactive is never a positive thing. You know, it doesn't really work well for us. So, you know, that's my personal week. That's the way my week is. Now, is it like that every week? No. Some weeks I'll do more because I may have something I need to prioritize at the weekend, and that's okay. But the thing is, I'm deciding to do it. I'm deciding to sacrifice a little bit of my off time as on time because it needs to be. Sometimes it'll go the other way. I might think during the week sometimes, look, I'm going to finish half day on Wednesday. I just feel I need a recharge, I need to switch off, or maybe my son's off school and I decide we're going to do something. So I'm always aware of experiencing proper work-life balance and adjusting to when circumstances or situations change, or just I decide, because again, I'm in control. And that's what real work-life balance is. I want you to get away from society's conditioning of what work-life balance is, because it's completely contradictory. Like I said earlier, you've one side of society which is saying, and I don't mean people, I mean society as a whole, like society as what's telling you what to do as an entity, or whatever you want to call it, that you should be pushing, keep up to Joneses, buy cars, houses, you know, boats, holidays, all that stuff. And the other side then, oh, you should be guilty, you should feel guilty because you should be spending more time with your family or with yourself or prioritizing your health or your kids and stuff like that. And this is why people are in a trap. because society is keeping you in a trap. And it's the same as all industries, keeps you in a trap. No different, like I've said often, the fitness, health, wellness industry does not want you to be fit and healthy, because if you were, it makes no money. Society does not want you to be happy. And you might think that sounds crazy, but it doesn't, because happy people, are in control of their lives, and they make their own decisions, and they live life on their own terms. Does society, in terms of the world at large, want that? Want millions or billions of people living like that? Of course not, because they're not easy to control. They're not easy to manipulate. Not easy to, to make huge profits off from poor health or from advertising and consumerism and stuff like that. So we need to start waking up to the reality of how this world works. And you'll only truly experience happiness when you're in control of yourself, in control of your emotions. You have high self-esteem, high confidence. You think for yourself. You don't let others do the thinking for you. And you experience proper work-life balance. These are all key ingredients to leading a happy life. I'm always stressing we strive towards happiness. That's what we should be striving for. We have dreams. You have dreams. I have dreams. You should be going for them. Never let anyone take those dreams for you. You have a vision of how you want your life to be, what kind of experience you want to have. That's what you should be having. You can have that. And again, work-life balance ties into that. And your work-life balance can change over time. There is no set rule. You might have a phase in your life, maybe starting a new job with high responsibility. Maybe it's starting a new business. Maybe it's just having had a new child, your first child even. Your work-life balance will be very different to then to how it would be maybe 2 years later. Okay, so your work-life balance should change over time, but the most important thing is keep in line with your values and your beliefs and the life experience you want. Okay, but tune into what you want. Remember, you're a unique individual. Work off that and don't compromise it. It's non-negotiable. It's your life, not others. Very rarely should you listen to other people's opinions. Very, very rarely, unless they have walked the walk and walked the walk that you want to go, or they hold values and beliefs that are in line with yours, and they have opinions that you highly respect, and they're people that you listen to. Otherwise, do not listen. You are on your own journey. Walk it the way you want to go. Set your own work-life balance boundaries. Like I said, I've told you what mine are. Were they like that a few years ago? No. Similarities? Yes, but not the exact same. Were they like that 25 years ago? Oh, no. Very, very different. Would have been 90% work, some sleep, some eating, training, tiny bit of fun, relaxation. Whereas now it's a better shift. It's like 2/3 to 1/3, I suppose it would be. And I'm very much good at being off when I'm off and on when I'm on. Work-life balance, guys. The truth about work-life balance is that work-life balance is individual. It's totally individual. So you do you. So make sure you take time to reflect on your life, your values, your beliefs, and your life vision, and tie your work-life balance into that. Decide on a framework on a weekly basis. And then when you need to tweak that. Okay? So I hope that made sense to you. I hope it helps you. If you have any questions about this topic, do let me know. You can contact me on any social media or on email. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating review on the podcast platform or on YouTube if you watch it there. And please share this out there. These messages need to get out there. Help the Mind Body Health podcast to get out there more and more by sharing the podcasts. It's important. I'm putting everything I can into these messages to make them, concise enough and impactful enough and step by step, so that they will make an impact. You can just take even 1 or 2 things from it and make a positive impact in your life. But more and more people need to hear these things. The Mind Body Health podcast will make a huge impact if it's listened to, if what I say on it's noted, and most importantly, if what I say is implemented. So you do that, but also help others by sharing the podcast out there. All right, so that's it for this episode of the Mind Body Health podcast. I do really hope you enjoyed it and that you've benefited from it. And I look forward to getting your feedback and your messages. Keep them coming, and keep any suggestions on topics or questions or guests you'd like me to have coming as well. Have a good one. And remember, your work-life balance, it's up to you. It's your own individual decision based on your values and your beliefs.